You're listening to the Pharmacy Podcast Network.
This special Pharmacy Podcast series is sponsored by First Financial Bank, leaders in financial expertise, lending, and independent pharmacy business expansion. And now, here's the founder and CEO of Pharmacy Podcast Network and series host, Todd Eury.
Pharmacy Podcast Nation, this is the host and founder of the Pharmacy Podcast Network, Todd Eury, bringing you another part of the 5-part series delivered to us by First Financial Bank. We so much appreciated so much of the insights from their executive team members as well as one of their customers. If you haven't listened to that podcast, I'm going to list all 4 of the podcast in the show notes so that you can see all 4 of these episodes before we talk to the one and only Bob Graul back for another part of the series. You started out the series, Bob, on trusted pharmacy insiders, and now we have you back for some more strategy. We're going to pick your brain today, Bob.
Sounds good, Todd. Great to be here. Thank you for having me on.
So, Bob, you've been in the business for quite some time and you understand it. You've actually understood institutional, specialty, community pharmacy, as well as mixed pharmacies. Let's talk about kind of that first subject, is the strategy of a pharmacy business owner and how they decide to grow their business. Give us some options about different pharmacies you've worked with, some of the stories that are kind of tied into expansion or marketing or specialty, the facets of pharmacy business opportunities.
Right, Todd. I have worked. Thank you for the introduction. I have worked quite a long time. You basically said I was old, which is that's pretty cool. I've been around a long time and I've seen the industry from a variety of different positions within the industry. So, what I was thinking of today is if we're looking at growth, very often you have successful pharmacies that hit basically a plateau. Might be growing slightly still or leveled out. And that really is the time for them to look at how to take the business to the next level. And there's a lot of options for that. One of the primary things that I've seen over the years is a lack of effective marketing. Stores, particularly if cash flow gets a little bit tight, the first thing they cut out is their marketing, because that's the easiest one to stop and recoup some dollars on. Unfortunately, that's the worst thing you can do because you're cutting off your lifeline to new business. So always take a look at your marketing, see how effective it is. Try tracking the marketing. See how much business you're getting back from the different areas you're marketing in, and utilize, particularly if you're in a buying group or with a wholesaler that offers marketing assistance. Always check that out to see, because very often you can get some co-op dollars or some great ideas for marketing. So number one is just evaluate your marketing, see how effective it's being. Moving on then, let's see, other growth areas would be one of the things that we've seen very successful is going from a single store to multiple stores. This is a big step and has to be evaluated very carefully. Location, obviously, if you're purchasing another store, again, location, if you're doing a startup for expansion. But NCPA data indicates that multiple store owners are a growing segment of the industry. And my experience has been that the multiple store owners tend to be more profitable long term. So,
what about multiple stores and multiple pharmacy settings, such as getting into long-term care, compounding, nutritionists, nutritional supplemental type of stores, other things that they can build around their business?
That's always a good idea. Diversification is very important for the independent community pharmacy. So not being what you would call a one-trick pony, in other words, only doing dispensing, of prescriptions. So diversifying into other areas of interest, such as you said, compounding, LTC, things like that, can be done either in the single store setting or more effectively in a multiple store setting. So a retail pharmacy opening or purchasing an LTC store, opening or purchasing a compounding operation, specialty, that type of thing, is very viable and can generate significant increases in revenue.
So what else are we missing when we're thinking, how do I grow my business and how do I align my existing business with that growth so that my structure and the base of my business stays alive, continues to grow, but I'm able to expand? I think that's kind of where that capital and that revenue comes in. So try to help us fill in that blank.
Sure. Two things there, Todd. Number one is you mentioned, how do I maintain my current business when I'm growing another entity? The importance there is that the mindset of the owner has to shift from being a owner-operator, in other words, spending a lot of time on the case dispensing prescriptions, to becoming more of a CEO, more of a businessman, and actually paying attention to the business. And part of that then is going to be, how do you capitalize this? Most businesses have some debt, but especially if you're low in debt, most financial people will tell you that you should be leveraged to some degree. It varies on the number, but so borrowing money to expand, of course, you have to make sure that what you're doing makes sense, that you've done your analysis so it's producing a positive cash flow. But going into separate businesses by financing is an excellent way to do it. Our bank provides working capital, expansion money for purchasing another store or doing a startup. We've done quite a few of those and are very experienced at it.
What do you see with regards to billing for services outside of the traditional dispensing that any of the pharmacies that you've helped are doing now? These extra services like going to a small employer and doing immunizations on site, going to school districts, trying to get business by partnering with the school itself, that type of extension in value of what the community pharmacist can bring to the table. What kind of creativity are you seeing from the marketplace and your customers?
Oh, quite a bit, actually. One of our stores was back in the dark ages when I used to own stores. One of our stores was one of the first in California to start doing immunizations, which was a very profitable cash flow stream for us, but also a great service for the community, making it very easy for them to get their flu shots. We expanded into pneumovax and others, and then also into travel vaccinations. So those kind of things can be done. Billing is the issue with some of the ideas. For example, I had some general practice doctors who really would have liked us to start an anti-coag clinic, but back in those days, we couldn't bill through their office at a sufficient rate to do it. I believe that a lot of states are changing and going for the pharmacists to be able to bill directly. Pharmacist is a provider, which would change that landscape dramatically. Things that you can partner with, you mentioned school districts very often are good partners. Unions, some of the unions, I've seen people partner with unions. We had a store that was partnered with outpatient surgery centers to prepare all their prepare all of their discharge scripts for post-surgery. There's just a lot of different things. You got to be creative, look around, see what's there, and don't be afraid to ask.
I just got done talking with a creative pharmacist, very business-oriented and entrepreneurial in the state of Missouri, about partnering with medication-assisted treatment providers who help opioid usage disorder patients kind of get onto their next phase of life and recovery. So even getting involved in the addiction and the opioid epidemic and partnering with certain people in your community to really spearhead that, even that of itself is a creative idea.
There's a lot of things you can do. There was a fellow I knew up in the New England area who partnered with, I believe it was a hospital or a medical center of some sort to provide smoking cessation programs for them. Very successful program for them. Obviously, opioids are a big issue right now, and anything we can do to stem the tide there would be great. And a huge public service, plus providing a new program for the store. It's, as you said, you have to be entrepreneurial. You have to be creative. You have to look around and see. I always told my students who worked with us and young pharmacists that the way to get a new program is not to think, what can I do to make more money? It's, what can I do to help my patients? If you're patient focused, you'll find ways to develop programs that will be successful. But if you come at it from the wrong direction, you may fail. But always keeping in mind that if what can we do to help the community, to help our patients, that will help you develop new programs.
Isn't that what value-based care is, Bob? I mean, that's exactly what you're talking about.
100%, Todd, 100%.
Well, Bob, I always enjoy talking with you. I've been so excited to have the First Financial Bank team, Larry and the team to work with and to talk with. And I want to give a shout out to your Kayla, who does an amazing job in your marketing department and really coordination of some of these interviews. But I've really been excited about the insights, Bob. I think there's other places that we can go. I want everyone to reach out to First Financial Bank to ask any of your expansion questions. Schedule some time with Bob and pick his brain. I tell you what, Bob, you need to write a book about the business of pharmacy.
Well, I might need a ghostwriter for that, Todd, but yeah, maybe you can help me with that. Yeah. Once again, though, tell the folks, or I'm telling the folks, I guess right now, don't hesitate to call us. No matter what the idea is, no matter what the concept is, no matter what your business plan is, give us a call. We can certainly talk you through it, let you know whether it looks like a viable plan or maybe need some work, point you in the right direction. But we're there to help you, so don't hesitate to call us to talk about anything. As you know, I'm always available. I'm semi-retired now, so I have plenty of time to talk. So don't hesitate to call us or any of our team members. Drew, Bo, Amr, Larry. We're always available and happy to talk to you.
Address is easy to remember, everyone, ffb1.com, and that's FFB, First Financial Bank 1.com, and go to the pharmacy section of their website. There's so many ways of getting a hold of these guys, but it's always fun interviewing and talking with you, Bob. I always learn something, and I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too, Todd. I really appreciate the time. As far as the website goes, even if you've already been there, go back, because we've just relaunched it. It's been updated and has some new information in it. So even if you've already been there once, go back again. If you haven't been there, please check it out. Todd, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I really enjoy these conversations, and just delighted to give a little of what insight I may have to the community.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bob Graul, First Financial Bank Pharmacy Services Division. Excited to have you on. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Todd.
Thanks for listening to the Pharmacy Podcast Network's Pharmacy Business Series, sponsored by First Financial Bank. To gain an advantage in your pharmacy business's needs for growing, expanding, selling, or financial strategy, reach out to the First Financial Bank's pharmacy business team. Go to ffb1.com and contact Larry Alexander for more information, or Google FFB1 Pharmacy. That's FFB1 Pharmacy. We thank First Financial Bank for sponsoring this Pharmacy Podcast Network Pharmacy Business Series. Be sure to listen to other pharmacy podcasts on the network and stay tuned for other First Financial Bank podcasts coming soon.